What's going on, guys? Welcome back. I'm right in the middle of a 30-day flight challenge, and I ran into a problem today with my FrSky Taranis X9D. It's probably applicable to other Taranis models also, but that's the one I have specifically. The problem was, when I went to give the quad roll input, either way, it didn't matter, the quad didn't respond at all. And I thought it was the quad at first, maybe the receiver, but then when I went to look at it, when I looked at the radio, I noticed that the stick movement wasn't making any output. So that got me thinking it's probably the gimbal. But before you spend money on a new gimbal, you might want to try this first. Cue that intro. So I got pitch, that appears to be fine. Now it's drifting a little bit. But like when look at that. I think the gimbal's messed up. Like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Maybe, look at that. Maybe the gimbal's just worn out. So I've got my Taranis turned on here. And what I did here was let me get to the main screen. So that's the main screen that I have. I click over to this screen where it shows the little stick inputs here. And you see how when I move it, that little circle moves with it? This happens on all the sticks. You probably know, but that's an indicator of what command you're putting in. And the problem I was having was when I would try to turn left or right, that little circle wouldn't move, or it would move very erratically. So that's why I thought it was a gimbal problem. Because there's no stick input, it's on a somewhat cheap radio, that tells me it's probably a gimbal issue. Well, it was a gimbal issue, but it turns out I didn't have to replace it. Now let me open up the back of this thing to show you exactly what I mean. So I got my Taranis back cover off here. Always make sure, take out the battery before you open this, please. Don't want anyone blowing themselves up here. So this is the Taranis 2019 SE, I think it was. And I think this did come with upgraded gimbals. And I do not believe they are the standard potentiometer gimbals. They're Hall effect. And if you notice, if you tilt the stick all the way down, you can see a little gap. You see that, how it's going through? That's the problem right there. Now, anytime something's moving, you can of course have dust get in there, but I think that's how it got in. So if we turn this around, you're gonna see something here and something here with wires coming out of it. Those are your sensors. That's what reads where the stick is and translates that to a signal that your receiver can read. Now the problem with mine is I had some dust in this one, in this case. This is the roll one. You can see it's on a little bearing in there, and it feeds into that sensor. That's how I know it's that one. I think some dust got in there and was messing up the signal or making it erratic. So all I did was take some compressed air and just blow it in there a little bit to get any, do that one too. Get any dust or anything that might be in there out of there. Then when I turned it back on, it worked fine. So once we cleaned out that sensor, we just got to put it back together now. To do that, just insert this ribbon, then click this in, and put the halves back together. Another tip too when closing the case here, it's kind of a pain to get these to line up. So what you can do, you can see here, you can kind of see the switch down there. If it's not quite lining up with a little recess, you can twist this little knob ever so slightly to get it to line up. Same thing with the other one over here. So that one is too much that way to the left, so we're gonna twist it a little bit There we go. Now it closes. Now that gap is sealed. FYI, if you're having trouble. Okay, so I got it all back together, got it plugged in, turned on. Everything seems to work, which is awesome. So if we go over to our stick input page, well, it was already working before because I made this fix, but if it worked, all your sticks should move and make an output. Okay, well, it's all done. It works again. I really hope that helps somebody out there. I know it's really frustrating for me when I have a problem and there's no resources for it. Drives me crazy. So as I run across these issues, I will definitely keep posting little tech tips and tutorials maybe, with the hopes that there's some of you out there like me that have a problem with no readily available solution. Now I could have just bought a new gimbal, but that would have run me at least 20, 30 bucks. And it would be a much bigger pain to replace that. So maybe before you throw your gimbals away, give this a try. Might help you out. But if you like this video, you want to see more like this, please consider dropping a like down below. Feel free to leave me a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next one.